Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In yesterday's video, I mentioned that I was disappointed and a bit confused with the new Delta Force playtest because I just assumed that we would get something new in this playtest. I did not expect it to be basically the exact same version of the game that we played over a month ago at this point. And then I was surprised because Delta Force has directly responded to me, not only on Twitter, but to multiple other people on Twitter under my tweet basically complaining about this stuff. And they also directly responded under yesterday's YouTube video. So we have a lot to talk about. They did provide some clarification and explanation for why they didn't change anything with this new playtest. They also provided news as to when we're going to be able to play the updated build of the game that is available in China that features more content, maps, vehicles, and all that sort of thing. And they have news on controller support. And I want to reiterate the news on controller support because I do feel like a lot of the people that heard the news about when there's going to be controller support weren't really here when I made the video featuring that information. So we have a lot to discuss in this video, and that's not all because we're also going to be discussing some different topics in the video, such as, gunplay and the map design and all that sort of thing, and I want to hear your thoughts, particularly on that stuff. So let's jump into things. If you enjoy the channel, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I stream every single day on this YouTube channel and my Twitch stream. First link in the description. Come by the streams, and join the Discord, ladies and gentlemen. It is in the description. Get up in there. We got a bunch of stuff going on. The first thing I want to mention is actually when the game is going to receive controller support, because that seems to be a reoccurring comment on every single Delta Force video that I have produced, as well as every single stream that I do for Delta Force. People have that question. So controller support for Delta Force will be releasing alongside the console release of the game. And the console release of the game is slated for Q1 2025. Obviously, the PC version is coming out before this, so you are simply not going to be able to play on controller until the console version of the game releases. Unfortunately, we don't have exact dates on either of those things. We don't have dates on the PC release, and we don't have dates on the console release. So the thing to keep in mind is, if you want to play on controller, you're going to be able to do that when the console version of the game releases. Now on to Delta Force clarifying some things and why the version of the playtest we're playing right now is not the version China has. And regardless of what you think of Delta Force's answer to this question, I do think the communication they're displaying is incredibly impressive, and other game companies, EA DICE, should follow suit in this type of communication. It is direct. They don't beat around the bush. This is a direct, concise answer to the specific question and concern that many people had. And on top of them just answering things directly, they are answering questions on videos that are critiquing them, which means they're not ignoring the critiques. They are responding to everyone. They don't seem like some other game companies that just decide to blacklist or completely ignore people that critique the game and only respond to people that praise the game. In response to my concerns about the Steam Next Fest playtest, Delta Force responded, quote, "The current China build is the early access version, which we are optimizing and localizing right now for global release in Q4 2024, real soon. The Steam Next Fest version is indeed much closer to the alpha test, but we wanted to give players who weren't involved in the alpha the chance to try the most localized build available before launch. We appreciate yours and the community's feedback, and will continue to improve Delta Force as we approach launch." So there are a couple takeaways here. Number one, we might actually get the full release version, or at least the early access release version of Delta Force sooner than we anticipate. I wouldn't be surprised if Delta Force is in early access in November. And then as far as why we're playing the same or very similar version to the previous playtest, they just basically stated that this was basically the most complete and localized version of Delta Force available, so that's why they're using this version over again. And you can obviously form your own opinion about that, because for me, I respect the answer, I appreciate the communication, but I am still just slightly confused as to why they wouldn't try to push something out a little more updated for the Steam Next Fest playtest, because it is a big playtest. This is going to be the first time a lot of people get their hands on the game. So, it still doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I do appreciate that they explained their thought process. And after they responded to me, Ghost Gaming, a fellow Battlefield YouTuber, hey, we are a small community in Battlefield YouTubers, so Ghost Gaming, shout out to him, Delta Force responded to his question, and he asked, hey, just wondering how much different is the early access build going to be from the current Next Fest build? And Delta Force responded, the early access build will be more similar to the current China version, so more content including maps, vehicles, etc. Full details will be revealed soon. So again, further hinting that we will probably receive more information on Delta Force's early access build sooner than we anticipated. Personally, I expected a December release. I did not expect to be playing an early access of the game in as soon as probably November. I would not be surprised if it releases sometime mid-November, just like the Steam Next Fest playtest released mid-October. And one of the other concerns that I see a lot in the comment sections of my videos and in my streams is people from different regions of the world complaining that they are having a really hard time actually playing Delta Force, namely OCE, Singapore, those types of regions, claiming they play games on 130, 150, 200 ping. Delta Force even had a response to someone on Twitter that expressed those concerns, and they said, thanks for the polite demand for more servers. We hear you on the servers, and we do aim to add more regions as we move into early access and beyond. So, once again, they are really proving that they're trying to directly communicate on all fronts here. And I, for one, really hope that they deliver on all of these concerns, and moving forward, I think the game could be fantastic if they execute properly. So massive kudos to Delta Force for just communicating on these issues, because that is rare nowadays, it really is. And I think it's really rare for people like me, coming from games like Battlefield, who are controlled by EA and DICE and all these companies. We are just kind of used, or I'm used to companies basically saying nothing, where we wait months for very vague responses, sometimes no response, and it's just refreshing seeing something like this. Now, in terms of them executing Delta Force correctly, I just want to mention this right at the end of the video. The more I play Delta Force, the more I realize that the gunplay is simply going to have to be addressed in some way or another. And I am specifically talking about Havoc Warfare here. I'm not entirely sure if the gunplay is as big of a problem in the extraction shooter mode as it is in the Battlefield mode, but when I play the Battlefield style mode, dude, it is very, very evident that the gunplay is just too beamy, too accurate, and you simply can't be aware of every single location you can die from. And it's not like this game has really slow time to kill. You die extremely quickly from even 100+ meters away to full auto weapons sometimes. And I have mentioned this exact same thing in previous videos, particularly during the last playtest. But this playtest really does reiterate and just confirm what I was saying in previous videos. I do think they need to address the gunplay, and I do think they actually do need to consider adding spread, maybe reworking the Havoc Warfare gunplay to make it like Battlefield 3 and 4 gunplay. They need to look at maybe reducing some bullet velocities, maybe rebalancing some attachments, because the engagement ranges right now are just ludicrously long range. And I think of it like this. Think of it like in a normal Battlefield game, say Battlefield 3 and 4, you kind of have to be aware most of the time of a 30 to 40 meter sort of circle around you. And you have to know that area really well to know where you can possibly die from, right? And even if you do get shot at from the maximum distance, the player really has to hit insane shots because of the mechanics in Battlefield 4's gunplay. He has to hit the shots while bursting, lead his shots, all that sort of thing. But in Delta Force, the area that you have to be constantly aware of in detail is, I'd say, 2 to 3 times larger. We're talking a circle of 100 to like 120 meters that you have to be constantly aware of, once again, in detail, or else you will absolutely get caught off guard and die. That is impossible. You can't be aware of that large of an area in that level of detail while you're constantly on the run. And that is why sometimes when I see some people in the comment section complain about dying from places they can't really figure out, that is because of the gunplay. It's not even because of the map design. You're being shot at from places that you don't even consider that you can die from. So just a point of conversation there. I hope this video was informative. I hope it clears up some of the controller support confusion, and I hope it clears up confusion in general. Let me know what you think about their clarification regarding the playtest build and what you think about the early access potentially coming sooner than we anticipated. And if you enjoy the content, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ladies and gentlemen, I'll say this at the end of the video for the true OGs that watch to this point, I am actually getting art made for my second channel revolving around fragrances. Yes, I'm finally taking the plunge. I have selected a channel name. I am having art made. I am buying a microphone. I have set up lighting. I have recorded test runs. And let's just say keep an eye out for an announcement within the next month to a month and a half. I did mention that when I do a second channel, I want to do it correctly, and I'm taking all the measures I have to make it, well, how I want it, because I'm very particular. I don't like to put out content that is, let's say, not to my liking. So with that being said, thank you for watching up until this point. You are awesome, and I will see you guys in the next one.